actually.
But even in that rollout, we saw some awkward moments, some silences there, like, switching the podium. There was no music, there was no roaring crowd. So how do you keep audiences engaged?
Well, they're going to have to be creative. I think you noted that they're going to have 17 rising stars. The first way we got to know President Obama was when he was running for the Senate and gave the keynote address at the 2004 convention in Boston and gave an outstanding performance. That's how the country really got to know him. This time we're going to see 17 rising stars from the Democratic Party. It'll have to be more produced. Obviously, everybody's going to only have a minute or two to speak, and it'll be led by some outstanding people like Stacey Abrams and these younger politicians from around the country. It's going to, I think that could be a really interesting moment, and people could get to know, get the feel of what's to come. But the most, I think, important thing that, as Susan said in the last segment, that the campaign needs to do is they need to let, I think that Vice President Biden and Senator Harris are putting forward before the American people how we're going to deal with the coronavirus, how we're going to get the economy back on track. The Vice President's laid out a lot of specific plans, but I don't think the American public has heard most of that. So I think we'll be seeing some of that as well in this convention.
How important do you think enthusiasm is right now? Because according to that NBC News and Wall Street Journal poll that we keep alluding to, Trump still enjoys enthusiasm. 58% of Biden voters say they're voting for him to vote against Trump. But 74% of Trump voters say their main motivation is Trump and not beating Biden. So is that something that they can maybe play a little catch-up this week?
Yeah, well, look, I think there's enthusiasm on getting Trump out of the White House, too, so enthusiasm goes both ways. But it really is, I think, incumbent to really introduce these people who I think they know them generally. They know both Vice President Biden, obviously, and they know Senator Harris generally. Her popularity remains strong, but they don't know the depth of their story, their experience, what they want to do. And this will be a real opportunity, again, to be able to be direct with the American public, kind of uninterrupted by all the applause, the cheering,
right.
What is normally the staged and organized process that goes on the convention floor. That'll be stripped away. And as I said, I think that, it was the case that the delegates were used to project enthusiasm. Now I think they're going to have to use the appearances by the candidates and by the others, by President Obama, by Michelle, by Bernie, by Bill Clinton and others, to really build and include people and bring them out of the audience and into that spirit that we can get this done, we can get the country back on track, we can bring the country together. And I think you'll hear a lot of that during these next 4 days.
Well, we saw it, a lot of people felt that Kamala Harris helped enthusiasm on the Biden ticket. But as quickly as we saw that, we saw birtherism attacks. And now the president's refusal to shut them down. You ran against Trump, but you have more experience on this perhaps than anyone. Does the president's ability to keep something like this alive pose a danger to the campaign?
Well, I think, first of all, people have had 4 years more of experience to know what a disaster, the way he operates, what it really looks like. And the coronavirus is probably exhibit number one, his mishandling of that. But he's going to try to distract people. That's what he does. He'll use his Twitter account. He'll say outrageous things. He'll refuse to answer direct questions about Senator Harris's obvious qualifications to be vice president or president. And, I think they're being smart in not taking the bait. I think one of the things that we confronted was that he was like catnip, particularly with the media. He'd say something, everybody'd run to it, and you're caught in either having to answer it or trying to change the subject. I think the Biden-Harris team have been very disciplined to get their message out, to not take this bait, and I think that's what they're going to have to do going forward. Having said that, I think surrogates for the campaign need to call him out for the racism, for the continued misogyny that he's pushing forward in the campaign. And I think that Vice President Biden said he's got Senator Harris's back, and I think a lot of Democrats across the country have her back.
Well, finally, before we let you go, you recently participated in a 2020 election simulation. It was with the Transition Integrity Project. You actually role-played as Biden, and in one of the outcomes, you contested the election. So why did you go through that as a possibility?
Well, we were a team that played the Biden team, so I don't want to overstate my role. There was, in the scenario we were playing out, there was massive voter suppression, as we are anticipating seeing again. Biden won the popular vote by even more than Hillary won in 2016 by 5 million votes rather than 3 million votes that we won in 2016. And so we thought it was inappropriate to concede, to contest the election, to contest the results, and to contest the interference with the proper functioning of the election. This was, I guess, 6 weeks ago. We probably didn't anticipate what we're seeing now going on with the Postal Service, with their attempt to interfere with the election, with their attempt to make it as difficult as possible for people to vote, to make sure that votes, that ballots don't get to voters, and that voters, when they ballots won't get back to be properly counted. I think we all have to fight against that and fight for our democracy. But I think in those circumstances, what we're going to experience, and I think this is probably the big takeaway, is this is not going to be election night. This is going to be election week or election month as we're counting these votes. And I think Trump will try to create chaos during that period of time, and the media has a real obligation.
What are you doing, Dad?
Set the facts straight with the American people.
Oh, you're calling your daughter.
Put in context what's going on with the long vote count with
What is
mail-in
it
votes.
to you?
Will this convention be less stressful for you?
She's my daughter. What is she?
Yeah, well,
John Podesta.
You could go ahead.
Huh?
You could go ahead.
No, I'm saying, what is she to you? She's my daughter. What is she to you?
My mother.
Hey, Danny.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Where are you now?
Home?
Oh, okay. What time are you coming over?
Oh no, I'm here.